What if I told you the fastest route to financial freedom isn't luck, crypto, or a lottery ticket? It's dividends done right. Most people think living off dividends takes millions and half a lifetime, but you know what's crazy? With the right yield and reinvestment strategy, $2,800 per month isn't a dream. It's math. All right, let's break this down. $2,800 a month doesn't sound insane, right? That's $33,600 per year. But the real question is, how much do you need invested to make that happen? It all comes down to dividend yield. At a 3% yield, you'd need around $1.12 million. That's huge. At 4%, you'd need about $840,000. At 5% yield, just $672,000. See the pattern? The higher the yield, the faster you hit that goal. But here's the twist. Chasing high yields blindly can be dangerous. You've got to balance solid companies with consistent payouts, ones that won't collapse when the market sneezes. According to me, optimizing your yield while keeping growth and stability intact is the secret sauce to reaching $2,800 a month faster than most people think possible. Here's where most people overcomplicate things, but it's actually simple. Dividend yield is just the percentage of a company's stock price that it pays you each year in cash. Think of it like rent for owning the stock. For example, if a company's stock is $100 and it pays $3 in annual dividends, that's a 3% yield. Easy maths, right? The higher the yield, the more cash you earn for every dollar invested. But here's the catch. Higher yield usually means higher risk. So smart investors don't just chase numbers. They balance yield with safety, making sure the companies behind those dividends can keep paying year after year. Because your yield directly decides how fast you'll reach that $2,800 a month mark. Now here's where the real magic happens. Dividend reinvestment. This is the move that separates average investors from those who retire early. It's simple. Instead of cashing out your dividends, you use them to buy more shares. And those new shares? They start paying dividends too. It's like teaching your money to have kids that also make money. Let me show you how powerful this is. Say you start with $10,000, 500 shares of a company priced at $20 each. With a 5% yield, you earn $500 in dividends after the first year. Instead of spending it, you reinvest, and now you own 525 shares. In year 2, those shares generate $525 in dividends, which buys even more. Now you're up to 551 shares. By year 3, you're at 579 shares, and the cycle keeps rolling. You didn't add another dime of your own money, yet your income keeps growing because every dividend buys a bigger piece of the pie. This is compounding in action. The snowball that starts small but becomes unstoppable over time. And this, right here, is how regular people can turn modest savings into a reliable stream of thousands per month. It's not flashy, but it's powerful. Every reinvested dollar becomes a step closer to that $2,800 monthly goal. And once it starts rolling, it's almost impossible to stop. Let's be honest, everyone loves the S&P 500. It's the gold standard, the safe zone, the set it and forget it investment. SPY, the S&P 500 ETF, is diversified, reliable, and has made countless people wealthy. But here's the catch. It's built for growth, not income. The average dividend yield sits around 2.5%, which is fine for capital appreciation, but painfully slow if your goal is to live off dividends. Let's run the numbers. If you invest just $10 a day, that's $300 a month into the S&P 500, here's what it looks like. After 10 years, you'd have around $75,000. After 20 years, about $288,000. After 30 years, $891,000. After 40 years, $2.55 million. And by year 51, you'd finally hit about $7.09 million, earning roughly $34,900 per year in dividends. That's $2,908 per month. So yes, it works. Eventually. But the key word here is eventually. It takes half a century to reach the goal, and by that time you're not exactly in your prime years to enjoy it. The S&P 500 is a masterpiece for long-term growth, no doubt about it. But if your goal is building income, consistent, growing, and usable within your lifetime, then you need a strategy that works faster. And this is where most investors miss the mark. The S&P 500 was never built for income. It's a growth engine, not a cash flow machine. To hit $2,800 per month faster, you need something smarter. A dividend strategy that blends yield, growth, and safety. The goal isn't just to chase high percentages. It's to find the sweet spot between steady payers and reliable growers. There are 5 golden rules for picking these kinds of stocks. First, look for a healthy yield. Not too high, not too low. Second, check for a strong dividend growth rate. It should rise every year. Third, the payout ratio should be under 60%, meaning the company keeps enough profit to sustain future payments. Fourth, it must pay consistently through good and bad markets. And fifth, diversify across sectors, finance, healthcare, consumer goods, REITs, so you're never overexposed. When you combine these 5 principles, you build something powerful. A portfolio that pays you to wait, compounds automatically, and doesn't collapse when the economy sneezes. That's the smarter way to hit your dividend goals without wasting decades. Alright, let's talk about what an optimized, real-world dividend portfolio actually looks like. One that doesn't just sit around waiting for decades to grow, but builds momentum year after year. This isn't some random collection of tickers. It's a strategic mix that balances stability with growth, creating that sweet compounding rhythm every investor dreams of. Let's start with the anchor, SCHD, Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. This one's the foundation. Think of it as the rock-solid base of the entire structure. It's got a 3.8% dividend yield, 10.77% annual dividend growth, and 7.87% share appreciation. SCHD focuses on quality companies with strong balance sheets, consistent profits, and decades of stable payments. It's not flashy, it's reliable. And reliability is exactly what keeps your income steady when the market gets messy. Then comes AGM, Federal Agricultural Mortgage Corporation. And man, this one brings the heat. With a 3.46% yield, a massive 25.47% dividend growth, and 20.69% share appreciation, this stock is an income machine with a rocket strapped to it. It's built around agricultural finance, a sector that rarely loses relevance. The best part? It keeps rewarding shareholders with higher and higher payouts every single year. Next up, IP, Interparfums, the global fragrance company behind luxury scents you probably recognize. IP offers a 2.41% yield, but don't let that smaller number fool you. Its dividend growth rate is a jaw-dropping 20.26%, and share appreciation sits at 16.08%. That means your income doesn't just grow, it accelerates as the company expands its brand presence worldwide. Now, for stability and credibility, MS Morgan Stanley steps in. A 2.86% yield, 23.45% dividend growth, and 13.41% appreciation. This is the kind of financial backbone every serious portfolio needs. Morgan Stanley's consistency through market cycles adds trust and long-term reliability. And finally, ABBV, the healthcare titan. With a 3.51% yield, 12.86% dividend growth, and 10.38% share appreciation, it's the definition of defensive strength. Even when markets shake, healthcare demand doesn't vanish. Put all of these together and you've got a powerhouse combo. The portfolio averages out to a 3.21% dividend yield, 18.56% dividend growth, and 13.69% share appreciation. It's a blend that balances the calm of SCHD ABBV, and MS with the explosive potential of AGM and IP. Together, they create the compounding engine that doesn't just build wealth, it builds momentum. Now, here's where the numbers start telling a story for us. Let's imagine you're investing just $10 a day. That's $3,650 a year into this custom dividend portfolio we just built. It doesn't sound like much at first, right? But watch what happens when time and compounding team up. After year one, you've put in $3,650. Nothing wild yet. By year 5, that grows to roughly $25,797. At year 10, it's up to $85,768. Then the curve starts to bend. By year 15, your portfolio balloons to $234,943. And by year 20, it hits around $634,925 in value. Here's the part that'll make your jaw drop. By year 20, your dividend income alone hits $41,126 per year, which breaks down to about $3,427 per month. That's not only beating your $2,800 monthly target, but also doing it in less than half the time the S&P 500 would take. No extra luck, no crazy trading, just patience, reinvestment, and a portfolio that actually pays you for holding it. According to me, this is what real financial freedom looks like. Income that grows on its own while you're out living your life. All right, let's put them head to head. The classic S&P 500 versus the optimized dividend portfolio. The S&P 500 sits at a 2.5% dividend yield, while the custom portfolio pushes a stronger 3.21%. Dividend growth? Around 7% for the S&P versus a crazy 18.56% for the custom mix. Now, here's the kicker. The time to reach that $2,800 per month goal? With the S&P, it takes about 51 years. With the dividend portfolio, just 20 years. The difference is night and day. The S&P 500's strength lies in its price appreciation. It builds wealth on paper, but not much cash flow early on. The custom portfolios flips that script. It compounds income from within, where dividends buy more shares, which generate even more dividends. A feedback loop of cash growth. Higher yield plus faster dividend growth equals exponential compounding. And that's why this strategy doesn't just grow your wealth, it multiplies your income power. The result? You reach financial independence while you're still young enough to enjoy it. This is where the magic turns into momentum. Every reinvested dividend buys more shares, and every new share earns even more dividends. It becomes a self-feeding loop, a machine that runs on its own once you set it in motion. You don't have to push it every day. Time and reinvestment do the heavy lifting. The biggest growth doesn't happen in the beginning. It happens later when that snowball of income turns into an avalanche. Patience and consistency are the real superpowers here. That's how small contributions grow into real financial freedom. Now, let's be real, no strategy is perfect. High yields can sometimes be traps if the company isn't stable. That's why diversification and smart stock selection matter so much. You want reliable dividend growers, not just payers. It's not about quick wins or risky bets. It's about building income that lasts. A strong, balanced portfolio survives storms and keeps paying you through them. That's the difference between speculation and strategy. Here's the truth. You don't need to be rich to start. Even $10 a day is enough to begin your dividend journey. The secret is consistency. Set up automatic investments, reinvest every dividend, and check your portfolio once a year. Over time, you'll notice something amazing. Your income starts to grow faster than your effort. And even small increases in your daily investment or yield can slash years off your financial freedom timeline. You don't need millions or 50 years to build financial freedom. With just $10 a day and the right dividend strategy, you can create real, lasting income in 20 years and finally live life on your terms. So, what's stopping you? Like, share, and subscribe. Your freedom starts today.